guys, I would like to share with you in this video a nice question, the one that can you see on the screen. Find the exact, without using a calculator, okay, let's find the exact value of cosine 105 by two different methods. Just try to think, make a pause for a second. Think of how can you find cosine 105 without using a calculator. At least one method. Okay, I will show you the first method. First method, I can think of 105 as the sum of two known special angles, 60 and 45. So easy, so nice. So cosine 105 will be cosine 60 plus 45. 60 plus 45 is u plus v. I know one formula, cosine of the sum of two angles. Cosine of u plus v will be cosine of the first angle, cosine of the second minus sine of the first, sine of the second. I just apply directly. Cosine 105 will be cosine 60 plus 45. Just apply the formula. Cosine of the 60 times cosine of the 45 minus sine of the 60 times sine of the 45. All of these are special angles. So we know the values of cosine 60 half, cosine 45 square root of 2 over 2, minus sine 60 will be square root of 3 over 2, and sine 45 will be square root of 2 over 2. Easy to multiply. Multiply the numerator, multiply the denominator. We have 4 and 4, so it will be square root of 2 minus square root of 6 over 4. This will be answer number 1. Can you have another pause, please, and think of another way, another method to find the value of cosine 105 degrees? Okay, let's continue. Second method, I can think of 105 as 210 divided by 2. Just easy numbers. If you multiply 105 times 2, you get 210. 210 also is a special angle. So let's use the formula for half angle. See, cosine 210 over 2. So this is like u over 2. It will be plus or minus in the formula square root of 1 plus cosine of u all divided by 2. So now u is 210. But remember, very carefully here, plus or minus, we have to choose this plus or minus according to the angle 105, not according to 210. Because u over 2 here is controlling the plus or minus. 105, it lies in quadrant 2. So the cosine of 105 is negative because it's in the x side, x over r. So cosine 210 over 2, by this formula, it will be the minus, because 105 in quadrant 2, square root of 1 plus cosine 210 divided by 2. We know cosine 210 in quadrant 3, it's minus square root of 3 over 2. Replace 1 by 2 over 2. And here we can add the fractions or subtract. 2 minus square root of 3 over 2. Here divide by 2, which means multiply by half, the reciprocal. So it will be minus square root of 2 minus square root of 3 over 4. Split the radicals. And then we have 2 in the denominator here. So minus square root of 2 minus square root of 3. This is answer number 2. Just compare now answer number 2, this one here, and then by answer number 1. Okay? Then you have to show, you can also take a second, show that this number here, square root of 2 minus square root of 6 over 4, is the same as this number, minus square root of 2 minus square root of 3 under all divided by 2. Let's do it. Let's show in this slide these two numbers are equal and these are the value of cosine 105 degrees. Let's square both sides. Square this one, split this squared, square all this as trinomial perfect square divided by 4 squared is 16. When you square this side, the minus will go. 2 squared is 4. This one you have to use the formula a minus b all squared. A squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Perfect square trinomial. So square the square root of 2 will be 2. Minus 2 square root of, multiply this and this, square root of 12 plus, there is a plus here, 6. On this side, you remove the big radical, it's power half. So we are left with only 2 minus square root of 3 over 4. Now let's simplify the one on the left side here. 2a, 6 is 8, so that's 8. Minus 2, square root of 12. Square root of 12 will be 4 times 3, so take 2 out. So there will be 8 minus 4 times square root of 3. Take a 4 common factor from 8 and from this 4. So you are left inside the bracket 2 minus square root of 3. Divide this 4 and 4. Simplify that. So it will be 2 minus square root of 3 over 4. Also on the right side we have 2 minus square root of 3 over 4. Done. So this number is equal cosine 105. I hope that you get some benefit from this question. Let's see another one. Question number 2. Sine of minus alpha is equal 1 over square root of 5. Alpha is the angle in quadrant 4. I need to find secant alpha over 2. Now remember that alpha over 2 is an angle different from angle alpha. It's half of it. So alpha can be in one quadrant, alpha over 2 can be in another quadrant. I will show you the steps first. You can also here take a little pause and think, how can you reach from sine of minus alpha? For sure we need sine of alpha from here. And then we have to reach secant alpha over 2. There are some steps here. So I will show you to explain the steps only on this slide here. Only the steps. Let's go back. From sine of minus alpha, I have to do something to find cosine of alpha by using triangle, x, y, and r. And then from cosine alpha, I can reach cosine alpha over 2. There's a formula for half angle. Then the final answer that I need, secant alpha over 2, which is 1 over cosine alpha over 2 by the reciprocals. Because cosine is the reciprocal of secant and secant is the reciprocal of cosine. Let's start. You can think of this one, sine of minus alpha, 1 over square root of 5. How to find cosine alpha? You can try it yourself, but I will show you now how. We know the sine function is odd function, which means sine of minus alpha is equal minus sine alpha. Remember this always. And also remember, please, that cosine, suppose in another question, you have cosine function is even. So cosine of minus alpha is equal cosine alpha. There is no minus in the cosine. Okay, let's come back to the question. Since this is an odd function, so I can take the minus out. And I know the sine of any angle alpha will be y over r. So I draw a triangle in quadrant 4. The y is minus 1. The x I have to find. R is the square root of 5. I use this formula, Pythagorean formula, x squared plus y squared is equal r squared. X squared, I leave it. I squared the 1 minus 1 all squared. I squared the r. This will be 5. Take 1 on the other side. X squared is equal 4. So X should be plus or minus 2. I choose the plus in quadrant 4. So cosine of alpha will be X over R. So this is X and this is R. Now here, remember carefully, I have this formula which we have seen also in question number 1. Cosine u over 2 will be plus or minus square root of 1 plus cosine u over 2. This plus or minus according to u over 2. Now let's see here. Alpha in quadrant 4. So between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi. If you divide by 2 each side of this inequality, this becomes 3 pi over 4, alpha over 2, and pi, which is quadrant 2. So I have to choose the minus. So cosine u over 2, it will be 1 plus cosine u over 2. And cosine, now I found already 2 plus over square root of 5. Now I have to simplify all this. You see this one here, what I need. Big calculation here. I have to simplify. And then after I finish completely, I need to get the secant. Remember, the question we need in the question the secant alpha over 2, which is the reciprocal of the cosine alpha over 2. Let's simplify this side here. Okay. So cosine u over 2 minus big square root 1 plus 2 over square root of 5. Since I have here in the denominator square root of 5, just simple fractions, this square root of 5 over square root of 5, I can add, so it will be 2 plus square root of 5 over square root of 5, all over 2. So multiply by the reciprocal of 2, which is half, so it becomes minus square root of 2 plus square root of 5 over 2 square root of 5. This value is the cosine u over 2. You see this value here. Now what I need, secant alpha over 2, which is the reciprocal of this. See, 1 over cosine. So I leave the minus, then I flip this fraction. So it will be 2 square root of 5 divided by 2 plus square root of 5. Let's see next slide. Or you can simplify it more here. You can do it yourself, but I will show you all the steps on the next slide, please. You can try if you want. You see the idea here now? In the denominator, we have a plus. So you have to think of something in algebra about rationalizing the denominator. Okay, let's see now. This is the secant alpha over 2 minus, this one is from the previous slide. I multiply up and down by the conjugate of 2 plus square root of 5. This one we call it the conjugate. And the whole process we call it rationalizing. So you multiply 2 times 2 square root of 5 will be 4 square root of 5. Square root of 5 square root of 5 will be 5, and the 2 will be minus 10. This one difference between two squares. 2 times 2 is 4 minus square root of 5. Square root of 5 is 5. 4 minus 5, be careful here. 4 minus 5 is what? It's minus 1. So this expression divided by minus 1 or multiplied with minus 1, so it will be reversed. It will be 10 minus 4 square root of 5, and we have a minus outside. This is the simplified answer for our question secant alpha over 2. Okay, let's see another question before we reach the practice. Just as a gift here, I put for you, nice slide, really nice slide, all half angle formulas. This one we use cosine half angle, plus or minus square root of 1 plus cosine u over 2. You can use this one for other questions, sine half angle, tan half angle. There are 3 different forms. formula number 3, formula number 4, formula number 5. We will use them in the next question number 3. And remember to choose plus or minus according to the quadrant in which u over 2 lies, not u. All right, let's see question number 3. Write the expression, oh boy, half tan half x minus half cotan half x in terms of cotan x. So in the final answer, we need something with cotan of x. Let's say 2 minus cotan of x or something, but we don't have to have any other function with the cotan. Compose and think. How can we do this? This is half tan half of x. This is the argument here, half of x minus half cotan. I don't know if it's easy or not, but I will show you also, Shabi, in this question, 2 methods. Let's see, method number 1. This is the given here. Half tan half x minus half cotan. Let me make it simple and take the argument, let theta is equal half x. So this half x, I make it theta. This half x, I make it theta. I leave the half as a common factor. So half bracket tan theta minus cotan theta. You see that? Just make it simple. So half x, which is the same as x over 2. Now use the reciprocal formula. We know cotan of alpha, 1 over tan of alpha. Okay, so this is cotan of theta, 1 over tan of theta. Find the LCD here, combine the fractions. This will be tan squared of theta minus 1 over tan of theta. Now if you multiply with half, it will be tan squared of theta minus 1 over 2 tan theta. We know already on the right side here, we know double angle formula for tan. So tan 2 alpha will be 2 tan alpha over 1 minus tan squared. If you flip this, it will be 1 over, if you flip this one here, you flip this one. So it will be minus 1 over tan 2 theta, according to this formula. And 1 over tan 2 theta will be cotan 2 theta. So minus cotan 2 theta. But remember that every theta is half x, which is x over 2. So you replace theta there, cancel the 2, and the answer is minus cotan x of this, all this. See, all this question is minus cotan of x. Let's see another method, method number 2. Completely different method. Take a half common factor, leave tan x over 2 inside the bracket, minus cotan x over 2. From slide number 10, we have 3 formulas here for tan u over 2. I will use the first one for tan here. You see tan x over 2, 1 minus cosine x over sine x. Leave the minus. Cotan will be the reciprocal, cotan x over 2, reciprocal of tan x over 2. So I take the second formula and take the reciprocal. So it will be 1 plus cosine. This one is coming from the reciprocal of this. You see this cotan x over 2, same as 1 over tan x over 2. That's the reciprocal. Now, since we have the same denominator here, sine of x, I can add in the numerator or subtract. So I get 1 minus cosine of x minus 1 minus cosine of x. The 1 cancels, and the cosine, they add up to minus 2 cosine of x. I cancel the 2. I left with the minus outside. Cosine of x divided by sine of x, that's exactly the formula for cotan of x. That's another method, completely different, but the same answer. Now, we reach practice number 1. Given cosine of 2 2 theta minus 17 over 18. Theta belongs in which quadrant? This one here. 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi, quadrant 4. Yes. Find the value of cosine theta over 2. That's practice number 1. You can use the appropriate formula from slide number 10. Now here, another practice. Tan 5 theta is equal to square root of 13. Find the value of cosine 10 theta. Try to think. I put here a hint. You can use formula number 3 on slide number 10. Formula number 3. And then you can see, I think you can pause this one, practice 2, try them, then you can check your answer. In the last slide, the answer for number 1, the answer for number 2. And thank you very much for watching and listening, and see you next time in another video. Thank you very